In this video, we are going to discuss how salt is prepared from the laboratory. For the preparation of salt, it mainly depends on its solubility, so you can check it from the table that we have discussed before, and the salt will be classified as first, insoluble salt or soluble salt except group 1 or ammonium compound, and the soluble salt for group 1 and ammonium compound only. For the insoluble salt, here shows an example. The preparation of calcium sulfate. So you may figure out the direct method will be calcium react with sulfuric acid to form calcium sulfate and hydrogen. But the truth is, if we put the solid reactant, for example, calcium oxide into sulfuric acid, then the calcium sulfate will form on surface. As it is insoluble, the further reaction will be stopped and you cannot isolate them to get the pure calcium sulfate. That's why we should not use any solid reactant in our preparation, and the only method will be mixing two aqueous solutions to form precipitate. For the aqueous solution that contain the calcium ion and sulfate ion, we have plenty of choice. For example, calcium chloride, calcium nitrate. For the solution that contains sulfate ion, we can have sulfuric acid or sodium sulfate, etc. The process is simple. Here, we choose calcium chloride and sulfuric acid. After mixing them together, we got a milky solution which contains calcium sulfate. Then, we try to get the calcium sulfate by using filtration. Calcium sulfate crystal can be collected, and then we wash the crystal with distilled water to remove any excess reactant on the surface. Then the crystal can be dried by using desiccator. As this is formed by precipitation, the crystal formed will be in powdered form. Next is soluble salt without group 1 or ammonium compound. They can be prepared by using a solid reactant and an aqueous reactant. But the point is, the solid reactant must be in excess, because excess reactant, which is solid, can be separated from our product, which is in aqueous solution easily. Preparation of zinc sulfate. As an example, we put the solid reactant into sulfuric acid. After reaction, the zinc sulfate solution will be produced, and the excess unused solid reactant will remain. This can make sure all the sulfuric acid are consumed and will not left in our product solution. Again, we try to remove the excess solid by using filtration, but this time our target is the filtrate, that is something that can pass through the filter paper. And then we will boil the solution to concentrate. After part of the water is removed, the solution becomes saturated. Then we allow the solution to cool down slowly to make sure we can get the large crystal. At the meanwhile, a piece of filter paper is used to cover the beaker to make sure there is no dust falling in from outside. But at the same time, the water vapor is allowed to escape. As time goes by, the temperature of the solution decreases, and hence the solubility also decreases. Finally, zinc sulfate crystal will form. By using filtration again, we can obtain the zinc sulfate crystal. The crystal will be dried in desiccator. Finally, is the soluble salt with group 1 or ammonium compound. This is most complicated because every reactant will be in aqueous solution, so we are not allowed any unreacted or any excess reactant, which will become impurity eventually. This time, we need to use a new technique called titration to make sure all the reactants are consumed during the reaction. We use preparation of sodium chloride as an example. From the target anion, we can ensure HCl, hydrochloric acid, is used. And we have plenty of choice. Sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate, or sodium hydrogen carbonate can be used for preparation. For the titration, we need burette and conical flask. Inside the burette, it is filled up with hydrochloric acid, and inside the conical flask, a known volume of sodium hydroxide is filled in. Then, methyl orange is added into conical flask to show the endpoint of the reaction. Then, we add hydrochloric acid until the color change from yellow to orange, which is the endpoint. At this point, all the hydrochloric acid or sodium hydroxide will be neutralized completely. Then, we record the volume of hydrochloric used and repeat the experiment again with same volume of hydrochloric acid and same volume of sodium hydroxide. But this time, we do not use any indicator. We do not want our product to be contaminated by indicator, and sodium chloride solution will form. The process will be similar as the previous case. We boil the solution to concentrate and let it cool down with covered by filter paper, and sodium chloride crystal will form this time. Again, we collect the crystal by filtration and dry it in the desiccator.